You found your car on Cars.com.
I'm a robot.
Yeti.
And found a place to service it, too. Now, when you're ready, you can sell your old car and find your new one, all on Cars.com. You know us for shopping, and now we're there for every turn. Cars.com.
What you gonna do? Lift up your head and keep moving? Or let the paranoia haunt you? Everybody.
And Missy, a lot riding on this match.
So much at stake for these teams. Wisconsin has never won a national title, but this is a senior class who has accomplished a whole lot. A Big Ten title to their credit, and they would like to add to those accolades.
And no surprise here, Tiana Williams comes out and gets the first 2 kills for Wisconsin. She was so big, came out really strong in the regional semifinal against Ohio State.
Yeah, I was just going to say the same thing, Courtney. They established Williams early in the match yesterday, and you see the same thing again here today.
And it's an ace for Kelly Bates. The Badgers on a roll as they score the first 3 points here in set 1. Marletta Lutz takes a swing. Carlini is going to set up Haley Nelson. And there's the outstanding freshman Catherine Plummer. Swinging from the right side, you'll see her all over the court.
This is going to be a really fun matchup between 2 great teams with a lot of talented youth. Catherine Plummer for Stanford is the Pac-12 Freshman of the Year. Molly Haggerty for Wisconsin, the Big Ten Freshman of the Year. We will get to see them go at it.
Stanford actually a very young squad. They boast 6 freshmen, 4 of them starters. Marletta Lutz on the swing. Dug up by McDonald. And speaking of that other freshman, Molly Haggerty from the back row.
It tells you a lot about the talent of a freshman when your setter goes to her out of the back row. Not just in the front row, but they find her for offense out of the back court as well. And interestingly, both of these freshmen have been asked to play several roles over the course of these seasons. These are teams who have had to make lineup adjustments due to injury and shuffling of players.
Ivana Vanyak takes her first swing from the left side and connects as Stanford has cut the Wisconsin lead to 2. And here we see the very talented libero for Stanford, Morgan Hintz. She had 5 aces yesterday against Florida State. They go back to Vanyak, through the block and down.
It was a beautiful dig by that freshman Hintz in the long rally that allowed Stanford to stay in system there. Hangs one up for her freshman setter as we continue to talk about the youth of Stanford, and Vanyak finishes it off.
The bump set to Kreshkova. It results in a free ball. Swing goes long by Adriana Fitzmaurice, another freshman who we expect to see a lot of for Stanford.
Fitzmaurice was actually the USA Today High School Player of the Year. A great look at her there at the net. She is 6'6", the smallest attacker for Stanford, 6'3".
And there's probably the tallest one right there, Marletta Lutz, coming in at 6'8".
Lutz is actually starting on the opposite after playing in the middle last year. She is one of their upperclassmen, but you can see the number of freshmen and sophomores on this Stanford team. 7 freshmen, 4 of them in starting roles.
They go with the quick set to Haley Nelson, and that's when you really see your veteran, Lauren Carlini, coming through with a nice ball set up to Nelson. Haley Nelson had the match-winning kill yesterday against Ohio State. And early on in this one, it's Ivana Vanyak feeling pretty strong for the Cardinal.
Interestingly, Vanyak also played in the middle a season ago for Stanford. Inki Ajanaku, who we talked about coming in to this match, was out all last season with a knee injury, causing Stanford to have to shuffle some players.
Tiana Williams with another kill for the Badgers.
Williams has played in every match of her career. She is only a sophomore, but already an all Big Ten selection in her career this year for the first time.
2 kills for Williams on 2 attacks. It goes out, point for Stanford, and look at the Stanford bench. We saw them all yesterday firing up their team. It's been so fun to watch.
Well, and it's really been a big part of the discussion for Stanford about this week. Their key word has been team and how to be a better teammate. And a big part of that, I feel like, is staying engaged, even on the bench. And they have got some real leaders over there who are going to be key today in this environment, as you can hear these Wisconsin fans react to another kill by the Badgers.
They are going to be crucial. It gets loud in here, as we can attest from yesterday. Catherine Plummer, her second kill. Swinging from that left side, a position really she hadn't played much before she got to Stanford.
Not only had she not played on the left side, she hadn't been asked to play in a passing role. She actually is a setter in high school and an attacker, so had not been asked to pass. That is something that Stanford is relying on her for this year, and she has done so well.
What a pretty shot by Lauren Gillis right down the line.
It's a really nice ball by the junior Gillis. Just turns on it and realize this Wisconsin team is very aware of how big the Stanford block is, and so they have to be smart and swing around the block, but they don't want to allow that block to create errors. Moretta Lutz with a kill on the right. That one coming from the other side. A couple of kills to her name. Lutz, a 6'8" redshirt junior out of Houston, Texas. And it will be Catherine Plummer's serve. Gillis tracks it down. Haggerty will send over the free ball. And Inky Ajanaku with her first kill. Maybe one of the shorter attackers, if you will, for Stanford, although she's not short at all. No, at 6'3", you look at those numbers, the average height, 6'1½", but that's an average. Realize the smallest attacker is actually Inky Ajanaku, who is listed at 6'3", and let me tell you, she plays much higher than that. She is off the floor quick and has the ability to play very high above the net.
Stanford gets their first lead of the match as the swing goes long for Wisconsin. Arlini to Haley Nelson on the side, and we were watching them missy and serve and pass. And we saw head coach Kelly Sheffield point out that area on the back row that was open.
Haley Nelson playing like a senior. She had some unmatched intensity yesterday. They had a timeout where things were looking rough, and everyone has talked about the pep talk that Haley Nelson gave her team. Coach Sheffield said she talked to the team the way only a captain and a leader can. She got on them, but she knew exactly what to say to get her team fired up.
And Nelson grabbed the team. They took a timeout when they were down 16-12. That was in their fourth set, and she said, this is not my last match. I'm gonna play more volleyball with this team. And so is Inky Ajanaku. And that's really the set that she likes, coming off one foot.
So good, that signature slide. But I'll tell you what, credit the freshman Jenna Gray there for an outstanding set. She's in the back row. It was a mental error by Haley Nelson to jump with Jenna Gray on that jump set, and it gave Inky Ajanaku a one-on-one opportunity.
Kreshkova with the swing from the middle. Here's Vonyak. Goes long, point for Wisconsin.
Sarah Dodd on the serve for the Badgers.
Coach Kelly Sheffield, once again, happy to see this place sold out yesterday. A 1 o'clock start. They were concerned that they wouldn't be able to fill this place. And Coach Sheffield said the first 1,000 students in line, tickets were on him. At one point in the match, he was telling the fans to get up on their feet. And he said afterward, hey, if I'm paying for them to be in here, they're going to make some noise for us. They certainly did.
It was very loud in here as Stanford is called for the back row attack. The point given to Wisconsin. Not a great touch by Hentz. And here's an opportunity for Wisconsin. And it's Romana Kreshkova using the block to her advantage. 3 straight points for the Badgers.
Kreskova is a redshirt senior on this team and just a really consistent player for the Badgers. They don't depend on her offensively, and yet every single one of their attackers is able to average over 2 kills per set. And that is one of the things that these two teams have in common, actually. They both distribute the ball so well. Every attacker for Wisconsin, every attacker for Stanford, each averages at least 2 kills per set. It tells you a lot about the setting of both Lauren Carlini, now in her senior year, and the true freshman Jenna Gray, who I think will have a career much like that of Lauren Carlini.
Kelsey Humphreys rotates in to serve for the Cardinal. And Gray will send over the free ball. Here's Haggerty. Vonyak able to get a swing off. And Stanford almost crumbles, but still gets off the kill by Ivana Vonyak.
How about the dig? True freshman libero Hintz for Stanford out of the back row, diving into the middle of the court. Coach Dunning has said, as a true freshman, this is a player that has raised the level of play in our gym. She makes everyone around her better. Another dig by Hintz.
What a great angle by Haggerty. Hintz was waiting for her. Kreskova off of the arms of Kelsey Humphreys. And Wisconsin jumps ahead by 2. The Badgers leading Stanford 15-13 in set 1.
Coming to the lunch meeting, Ned?
Forgot the reports in the car. Oh, Kevin's lunch. That's the 5th time this week. Freaking fast.
I forgot my lunch again.
Jimmy John's.
When I walk through this park, I just don't see overgrown grass and weeds and stuff. I see people and I see souls and I see families enjoying themselves. We have people that is willing to help. This is our community. They see it being revived and they seeing life coming back.
The NCAA Women's Volleyball Championship is presented by Northwestern Mutual. We help you live life differently.
They were making some adjustments to the scoreboard last night as Florida State and Ohio State said their farewells from the Madison Regional. Wisconsin and Stanford remain. Courtney Lyle and Missy Whittemore with you here from Madison, Wisconsin, as the Badgers with a 2-point lead on top of Stanford right now here in the first set.
I saw that Wisconsin summary. They have recorded 13 wins over top 25 teams this year. That is a record. This would be their 14th, and they earned the number 3 seed in the tournament. That is the highest seed Wisconsin has ever earned in the NCAA tournament. All 3 top seeds this year going to Big Ten teams. That is the first time a single conference has owned the top 3 slots.
Finished number 1 in the RPI. You know they've played some tough teams. Great dig by Kelly Bates. Results in an overpass though, but we play on. Kreskova. And Wisconsin's got something working on the right side.
Nice little pickup though by Kelly Bates, who has played outside hitter this year at times, playing the libero right now in that red jersey. A great dig by her, and then later in that rally, it was the tip over by Jenna Gray, and she picked that up easily, allowing Wisconsin to transition.
And there's another ace for Wisconsin. Off of the serving of Amber McDonald. And her serving was so big yesterday to help Wisconsin get here. The Badgers on top of Stanford, 17-14.
At Airport Home Appliance and Mattress, you'll sleep better knowing you saved big. Hi, I'm Chris from Airport Home Appliance and Mattress, where you're going to find the largest selection of appliance and mattress brands in Northern California, all at guaranteed low prices. Save big with a full line of Serta, like this queen adjustable mattress set for only $8.99 during Serta's 85th anniversary event. Sale ends Sunday. Shop online or in-store at Airport Home Appliance and Mattress. Unbeatable price, selection, and people.
First simmer, then shred, and then devour. Introducing Beef Barbacoa at El Pollo Loco. Deliciously crafted and served all your favorite ways. Only at El Pollo Loco, fresh from the grill.
Well, Sunday on ESPN, it's another afternoon doubleheader of college hoops at 3 p.m. Eastern. John Calipari's number 6 Kentucky Wildcats take on the Hofstra Pride in the Brooklyn Hoops Winter Festival at the Barclays Center. Then we'll have Tennessee and number 7 North Carolina from the Dean Smith Center in Chapel Hill. Both those games also streaming live on the ESPN app and watch ESPN. Amber McDonald serving for the Wisconsin Badgers, and she was so critical in their win yesterday over Ohio State. Her serve really kept the Buckeyes off guard.
It did. AMAC, as she is affectionately called, started serving down 14-19 in the fourth. She gave them a huge lift. As Kelly Sheffield said, she was dropping dimes, placing it exactly where they wanted it, allowed them to set up on defense and really make a run against that Ohio State team who was in control at the time.
Carlini has to push some of her teammates out of the way to get that one. Back to Haggerty. Right through the block.
Wow. It's a word that was used to describe last night's match quite a few times, and that is another wow moment for Wisconsin. Molly Haggerty gets all of this one. That is the huge block of Inky Ajanaku, but alongside the smaller setter, and Molly Haggerty takes advantage of that.
Ajanaku taking advantage of a set that she loves to hit, and that's kill number 3.
Again, on the signature slide, a really nice push by the freshman setter who is pulled into left front. Gets it all the way out to that right antenna for Inky Ajanaku.
Jenna Gray to serve for the Cardinal. Plummer. There's a block waiting for her. Wow, and again, Morgan Hintz starting off there to keep the ball alive. And they're going to call a net violation on Catherine Plummer for Stanford.
This is a great rally, so much good defense, and Stanford going just for a bit of a slowdown on that really fast-paced ball coming from Williams.
It's ace number 3 for the Badgers. Kelly Bates sneaks one over the net for her second ace of the night.
And I'm not surprised to see that Stanford timeout, because one of the key things they talked about was we have to be able to pass the ball. We've got to stay in system, and passing is so key for them. We talked about the fact that they have used a lot of different lineups over the course of the season. They've forced players into passing roles who might not be as comfortable there. And so I really like the quick timeout there by Coach Dunning to talk things over a bit.
Catherine Plummer with 2 kills. You see her now there for Stanford hitting 400. As Wisconsin stretching their lead here in set 1. Well, it's a big night tonight. Lamar Jackson, Baker Mayfield, Jabril Peppers, Deshaun Watson, or Dede Westbrook. The Heisman Trophy presentation presented by Nissan tonight at 8 on ESPN. You can also see it streaming live on the ESPN app and watch ESPN. Lots of Badger fans making their way to UW Fieldhouse. And Missy, it's so fun to watch the doors open here because fans literally run to their seat.
Yeah, last night you and I were taken a little off guard, didn't know what was going on. They had just opened the doors for the fans and people go running past us because, of course, your ticket is for a certain area but not a specific seat. And so the first ones, it's first come, first serve. And some of those people really wanted the front row, but it is great to see the intensity here in the Fieldhouse and the excitement of these fans.
Another sellout. They've sold out now 11 times this season, 12 if you count today. Gillis. And Moretta Lutz went quiet for a little bit, but comes back from the left side.
As you said, interestingly, Lutz swinging from the left side in this rally, staying out there at the left pin, but shows the versatility, really, of these Stanford attackers. They have that ability to swing all along the net. As we said, Lutz actually played in the middle a year ago. If you look at Stanford's roster from a season ago, there is not a starter on this team in the same position that they played in 2015. Whether they graduated and there's a new freshman there, or whether it's a player who has just moved positions. So this is an entirely new and revised Cardinal team.
Gillis gets kill number 4 to lead Wisconsin. She's hitting .375 on the afternoon. Here's Lauren Carlini. And you'll see her go down the line with her serve a lot tonight. Lutz, dug up by Carlini. Gillis gets a little bit of the block for kill number 5. And it all started with their setter.
Lauren Carlini tied her career high in digs last night. If you think you cannot affect every aspect of the game from the setting position, Lauren Carlini will prove you wrong. She knows how to score points in the big moments.
Carlini with 16 digs against Ohio State yesterday. She's got 3 this afternoon. Tipped over by Nelson. And Haley Nelson continuing to be one of the veterans on this team.
The senior connection. These two work so well together, such familiarity. Nelson in her career already 1,000 kills and 500 blocks. Those are huge benchmarks.
Moretta Lutz making the defense scramble, and Stanford tacks on another one.
A nice response from Lutz as Wisconsin has started to pull away here. We've talked about the youth of Stanford. We asked Coach Dunning before yesterday's match, how would they respond? And he said, I have no idea. We'll just see how they do. They have done quite well on the big stage, but you better believe they're going to look to those upperclassmen.
And Haley Nelson gets the fans on their feet as it's set point for the Badgers. Nelson with 3 kills, hitting .600. Wisconsin will bring in Sarah Dodd to serve. Lutz off the block. The Badgers are there to stop it. Here's Kreshkova. Corner pocket does the trick for Romana Kreshkova, and Wisconsin will switch sides and play again. Wisconsin takes the first set.
It's time you took a fresh look at CalFresh. Formerly known as food stamps, CalFresh is a nutrition program that helps families and those in need afford groceries. Over half of CalFresh recipients are children. No child should have to wonder when they'll eat next or where their next meal is coming from. CalFresh helps people get back on their feet and provides nutritious food where it's needed most. Go to foodbankccs.org and take a fresh look at CalFresh.
Almost every week throughout the year, a team of Chevron volunteers serves the evening meal at Grip. Because in the real Richmond, where there's food and shelter, there's hope.
Wisconsin comes out and takes the first set from Stanford, 25-18. Let's take you back to the 2013 championship, December 21st of 2013 to be exact. Penn State was able to beat Wisconsin 3-1. It was the first time that 2 Big Ten teams squared off for a championship, and Ariel Scott led the Nittany Lions with 21 kills in that match. But Wisconsin still looking for that first national title.
They certainly are, and it has been since 1998 that all 4 top seeds have advanced to the national semifinals. We know that Nebraska has already punched their ticket. Wisconsin, the top seed here in Madison, trying to do the same. This is the second of 3 Big Ten Pac-12 matchups that we will see here today. The other interesting note that there has never been back-to-back years that a Pac-12 team has not made it to the championship. And in order to maintain that tradition, one of those Pac-12 teams today will have to upset a Big Ten team on their home court. It's going to be a tall order.
Absolutely. We at least know one team who is moving on to Columbus, Ohio. Nebraska was able to come out and sweep Washington in our first regional final of the day. But here we go with set number 2, and Molly Haggerty will get things going. And there's Adriana Fitzmaurice with a perfect swing to some wide open court on the Badgers' side of the net.
Kelly Sheffield talked to us about it prior to the match. These players for Stanford so big along the net. Fitzmaurice, another one of their tall trees at 6'6". They hit at angles that you just don't see throughout the regular season, and it can take some adjustment to get used to that.
Gillis off the block. Gray will call on Plummer. She gets through. What a pancake by Amber McDonald. And it eventually leads to a Wisconsin point.
Plummer pointing to the floor thinking this one was down, but how about McDonald keeping it alive for the Badgers, and eventually it's Gillis who finishes it off. Gillis actually led Wisconsin in set 1 with 5 kills. Make it 6 now.
Catherine Plummer is able to send her shot to the back line, barely gets in.
Plummer has such an ability to see the court. She is the only player to have won an FIVB World Championship medal in both indoor and outdoor. One of the best beach players in her age group.
Yeah, you think she's good indoor. See her in the sand. Plummer goes up and gets that one. Bates digs her up. And Badgers falling all over the court, but can't get it back over the net.
The thing you have to love about Wisconsin, they never believe a rally is dead. Against all odds, they will continue to sacrifice their body.
Carlini to Haley Nelson on the slide.
And notice the success that Wisconsin is having at the right antenna, whether it be Haley Nelson on the side or Chris Kova, who's just re-entered the match, who I think it's really interesting to look at her numbers from set 1. 4 kills for her, a really good first set. And I think it's interesting that success is at the right antenna because they're running away from the big block of Lutz. They're doing everything they can not to have to swing into the 6'8" Lutz, and it's working very well for them.
You see Moretta Lutz there with just a perfect decision to tip over the block right to a spot. Barely got it in on that far side. Vonyak. And Ivana Vonyak with another kill, kill number 5.
Vonyak, really a true student athlete. Out of Germany now in her redshirt junior year. She is fluent in 5 languages, by the way.
That's really impressive. You give Wisconsin an overpass, and Haley Nelson's going to give it back to you.
Haley Nelson, such a solid middle blocker. There is not a skill she lacks. She has all the pieces of the puzzle, and she has the intensity to match it.
Service error for Sarah Dodd, a serving specialist, 5'4" freshman for this Wisconsin group. And it's interesting too, the story about Sarah is she started coming to Wisconsin volleyball camp when she was 14 and eventually impressed them so much that they decided they had to have her in Madison. Wisconsin follows that one up with a point. But Dodd really evolved into a serving specialist this season, and that's a hard thing to do as a freshman coming off the bench when you're cold to serve. As you see Fitzmaurice there, lays one down.
Fitzmaurice, another all Pac-12 freshman selection. She was a National Player of the Week this week, already as a freshman, the highest honor.
Kreshkova just took a little bit off of it, and it was just enough.
Kreshkova over the season averages just over 2 kills per set, but she is on fire in this match against Stanford. And again, I think you can't stress enough Wisconsin's ability to be successful at the right pin and the great choices that we're seeing from Lauren Carlini at the setting position.
Haggerty gets a little bit of the block. Gray is going to call on Vonyak. Tipped over by Gray. Somebody's got to get it. Nobody does. Point for Stanford. And that'll keep the Stanford bench fired up.
Typically for Wisconsin, the problem is too many players diving for a ball, but that time, miscommunication, they let one go.
Haggerty. Gray over on 2. Tipped over by Carlini, but out. So it ends up being a pretty nice decision there by Jenna Gray, the freshman setter for Stanford. Holland McKenna in now, serving for the Cardinal.
McKenna, a player who did play last year for Stanford, but in the libero position, so someone else making a change. And we see another wow swing from Haggerty. This time right down the line. We saw her bury one in the middle of the court earlier. But obviously Wisconsin doing a great job being aware of who the blockers are on the other side of the net. When that smaller setter is in the front row, they're not afraid to run one to the left pin. But when they've got Lutz over there, they've been very wise about their choices.
Plummer into the block. Lauren Carlini exploded off the net.
The fire she brings to the court is pretty much unmatched. It's hard to find a player who plays with more intensity.
It was a short serve by Wisconsin, but Fitzmaurice doesn't mind as she got a nice set from Jenna Gray.
And that's the same play they ran in that rotation to side out last trip around. So nothing fancy by Stanford, but they're just executing what they're good at.
It tips the tape. And it's the first ace of the night for Stanford. And you talk about that connection. Adriana Fitzmaurice and Jenna Gray were actually high school teammates. So how nice is it to make the transition to college together?
Well, I talked about Carlini and Nelson having a great connection as seniors. But here for Stanford, you have 2 players who have played together in high school and club for 4 seasons. So they're able to enter their college career with that connection already there. Coach John Dunning said it was very unique that they would bring in 2 players from the same club team. That has not happened often in his career.
Gray gets under it just enough, but Plummer's cross-court swing is a little wide.
Coach Dunning also said we have to be careful to limit our errors. They said Wisconsin plays such low error volleyball. You can't afford to give them points because they're already really, really good. Back-to-back errors there by Plummer.
Plummer with 3 attack errors on the night. That time, no problem, and that shows some confidence as they just keep going back to Catherine Plummer.
Confidence and composure, because this is completely out of system volleyball. That is a lot of pressure on the youngster who just moments ago we said had those back-to-back errors. Stanford had no other choice there but to keep hanging one up. 4 hands in her face ready to block her, and she manages to blast one through.
Gillis only had 1 blocker in front of her.
That's because Wisconsin again eliminates the block of Inky Ajanaku by a really smart setting choice. Lauren Carlini pulled over there into right front. Inky Ajanaku follows her and Haley Nelson expecting the slide, and then Lauren sends it to the outside. It's that one-on-one opportunity. Great for Wisconsin.
Ajanaku maybe not the touch you wanted on that ball. Still results in a kill. Stanford on top by 3.
And of course results in an Inky Ajanaku smile, which you see quite often at the net for Stanford. She certainly enjoys playing the game, and she is really fun to watch.
Yeah, Coach Dunning said that was maybe one of his favorite things about Inky, was just watching her play and how much fun she has. And you know she's got to be having fun this season when she can play after sitting out a year and having to watch. Gillis with a neat angle.
Gillis perhaps more familiar with the Pac-12 than anyone else on this Wisconsin team. She spent a season at USC before coming back to Wisconsin. She was actually on the same club team as Tiana Williams of Wisconsin. She is originally out of Newcastle, Indiana. So she knows a little bit about the Pac-12.
Carlini pushes it to Kreshkova. Tries to go with a severe angle all the way across the court, and just a little too much.
And you heard a bit of a groan from the crowd. These fans are not used to unforced errors. They play pretty perfect to volleyball here in Madison.
Emmy Dodge with a couple of back-to-back digs, but that overpass goes out. And Stanford, this time in the second set, the first team to reach 15. The Cardinal on top, 15-11.
Get the 2017 Toyota you've been wishing for during Toyotathon. Hurry in. This event ends January 3rd. Right now during Toyotathon, get 0% APR financing on over 10 select models. Offer ends January 3rd. Toyota, let's go places.
That usually works. I started photography when I was in elementary school. I thought that the darkroom was a magical place. I first discovered Looking Glass when I moved to Berkeley. I thought the staff was really friendly and knowledgeable, and I just felt like I was home. My name is Noelle Hamlin. I'm a mother and a photographer.
The NCAA Volleyball Championships are presented by Northwestern Mutual. The NCAA Women's Volleyball Championship coverage continues with the national semifinals Thursday, December 15th at 7 p.m. Eastern on ESPN2. For more information on the NCAA Women's Volleyball Championships, you can visit ncaa.com, your home for all 90 NCAA championships. And it's been very interesting at this point in the tournament just to see what teams from which conferences are remaining. Big Ten and Pac-12 had so many teams make it into the tournament.
8 each make it into the tournament, and coming into the regional finals, 3 remain from each conference, and 3 of our regional finals are Big Ten Pac-12 matchups, all on Big Ten courts, however. So you feel like the Big Ten definitely has an advantage, as well they should. They earned the highest seeds, and in this year's tournament, the teams with the highest seeds had the opportunity to host. You would think, though, that perhaps Stanford could make a case for their abilities against the Big Ten. They beat Minnesota, Illinois, and Penn State early in the season, went 3-1 against the Big Ten, while Wisconsin had played only one Pac-10 team. Arizona had gone 1-0 against Pac-12, excuse me.
And just how you want to come out of a timeout if you're Wisconsin. Back-to-back points. Make that 3 points in a row as the swing goes long for Stanford. And it will be the Cardinal who has to take a timeout now as Wisconsin is within 1. Stanford calls a timeout. They lead at 15-14. titles. Just one shy of tying Penn State for most of the nation.
Played in the semis in 2014, but in 7 of the last 9 years, Stanford has been eliminated by a Big Ten school. Michigan 3 times, Penn State 4 times. They're hoping not to add Wisconsin to that list.
Stanford is one of 2 teams, along with Penn State, who has made every NCAA tournament. It was close. Kroniak was looking for that corner, but the point goes to Wisconsin, and we're tied.
And this is right where Wisconsin made their move in set 1. Stanford got to 15, was looking pretty good, and Wisconsin was able to make a move. Kelly Sheffield said, coming into this tournament, there's going to be ups and downs because every team is good. It is how you respond when your back is against the wall. And this is the response we're getting from Wisconsin. When things were down, big players making big plays. Kreskova has been awesome today.
Kreskova with 7 kills. Goes with the tip on that one. You can add another kill next to her name. 6 straight points for Wisconsin. And Stanford has to call another timeout. The Badgers are on a roll.
Wisconsin making Stanford very uncomfortable with some really... At Minnesota, a thrilling match. They were also defeated earlier this season at home by Minnesota in sweep fashion, and also fell to Nebraska earlier this season in sweep fashion. But realize this is a Wisconsin team that has struggled with personnel issues. There have been times where they've had their outside hitters each out over the course of the season, forcing Kelly Bates into that outside hitter role. She played there a year ago, but their best lineup has been what they're using now, with Bates at libero and both Haggerty and Gillis swinging from the left side.
They originally awarded the point to Wisconsin, but the up official will speak with Lauren Carlini as she reversed it and gave it to Stanford.
The line judge makes the first call in. The up official does have the ability to overrule that. That is exactly what she has done.
You can hear how the crowd feels about that.
And Coach Sheffield is not ready to let this one go. He sends Lauren Carlini back to the up official for a continued discussion. Realize the line is inbounds. If it catches a piece of the line, that would be considered inbounds.
So they will give the point to Stanford. Wisconsin's appeal does not work. We do not have a review system at this stage in the NCAA tournament. They will have one in the national semifinals and the national final. And that is huge right there, because Stanford now able to tie it up.
And the plan is that next year they would implement the review system at this point in the tournament, in the regional semifinals and finals. It's a timeline that they plan to follow to implement it over the course of the next several years. That timeline will be evaluated at the end of this season and see if there are any adjustments made.
Kreskova gives Wisconsin back the lead. And it will be Amber McDonald with the ball in her hand to serve. A great pancake by Kelly Bates. Fitzmaurice. And they're going to call a net violation on Haggerty. But Kelly Bates with an incredible play. Keep in mind, she's played outside hitter this season.
Played outside hitter for the Badgers a season ago, but with the addition of Molly Haggerty, they really have 3 true outside hitters. It served them well over the course of the season due to injury. At this point in the season, they have her playing that libero role. She is fantastic. She had a huge block cover last night that was a turning point in that match for Wisconsin.
Haggerty tacks on kill number 5, and she will go back to serve as Wisconsin is up by 1. Carlini over on 2, and we saw her working on that in practice earlier today.
And that is not out of necessity. This is out of choice. She could have set this ball if she wanted to, but she knows where the defense is, and she knows where the hole is, and she finds it.
Haggerty with a very short serve. Gillis is able to get a hand on it. Plummer off the block. And that has everyone on their feet.
Tiana Williams, 11 in white, tied a career high in blocks last night against Ohio State with 8. Has had a phenomenal weekend here in the regionals.
A couple of blocks tonight for Williams. And Kelly Bates was just inches away from digging that one up.
And I love the reaction from Bates. She continues to clap her hands. She's so mad at herself. She truly expects to play up every one of these balls. And the thing is, she is so capable of it. She is such a great defender.
Here's Fitzmaurice. Carlini pushes it way back. Williams tracks it down. Gillis. And Stanford is able to catch Wisconsin out of system. They were moving all over the floor.
And if ever Stanford needs Inky Ijanaku, it is right now. They could not be in a better rotation for this point.
Pliskova with 6 kills. Actually hit negative yesterday against Ohio State. So fortunately for her, another opportunity to come out and not end the season hitting negative. 571 is pretty good.
It certainly is, and credit her for that ability to flush yesterday's match and start fresh. Instead, Inky Ijanaku is in the front row for Stanford. She missed the entire last season with a knee injury. Back on the court for Stanford in 2014. She was Volleyball Magazine's National Player of the Year.
Tiana Williams not afraid of that Stanford block, going all the way across the court. Here's Ijanaku. Blocked.
What you have to love about Haley Nelson is that when it comes tournament time, she has actually gotten better, if that's possible. She is averaging more blocks per set and more kills per set in the NCAA tournament than she has over the course of the season. She does not want this year to end.
Gillis pushes it to the back row. Gray's going to call on Ijanaku again. And this time she finds a spot right in front of Amber McDonald.
And I think if you're Wisconsin, you knew it was coming. The question is, can you stop it? It will continue to come.
Wisconsin 2 points away from taking a 2-0 lead in this match. Carlini to Nelson down the line, dug up by Hintz. Haggerty will have to set it over from the back row. And Ijanaku finds a spot on the floor she likes.
It's a good choice in transition by the young setter. Coach Dunning said he's really pleased with the choices of Jenna Gray. You can see her growth and her maturity over the course of the season, but she finds her big gun in transition. 600 block mark in this match. Only the 4th player in Stanford history to do so. Her hitting percentage, of course, 2nd in Stanford history. And you have to realize this is a storied program. A lot of unbelievable players have come through Stanford. So when you're sitting at 1st or 2nd in career marks in the Cardinal history books, you're being compared to some really great names in the sport of volleyball.
Coming off a season-high 17-kill performance, hit 538 yesterday against Florida State. Nelson off the block and out. Here's set point for Wisconsin.
Lauren Carlini said that Nelson was demanding the ball yesterday. She and Molly Haggerty both, and that she trusted her and went to her on match point. I think we see that same sort of connection here in this match. You go to those that you trust.
Gray to Ajanaku. She gets it down. And Stanford within one, still set point for Wisconsin.
Ajanaku averaged only 2.7 kills over the course of the season, but in tournament play, averaging an entire kill per set more, nearly 4 kills per set in tournament play alone.
Stanford has to be perfect here. Carlini to Nelson. And we're tied at 24.
All day long, Wisconsin has gone after the block of Vonyak. Staying away from Lutz over there at the right antenna, and finally Vonyak makes them pay.
You do have to win by 2. Kriskova from the middle. Vonyak. And they will call 4 hits. They'll say it didn't get over the net. It was an awkward angle for Ivana Vonyak, and here is set point for Wisconsin.
A big-time dig by Hens to keep it alive, but as you said, a really awkward swing for Vonyak in a bad position.
Sarah Dodd comes in off the bench, and she will serve for the Badgers. Vonyak tipped over. And it's Haley Nelson giving the Badgers a 2-set lead. They are 1 set away from a spot in Columbus. Wisconsin takes it 26-24. Let's head back to the studio, and Brendan Fitzgerald and Nell Fortno, they'll break right into the hands of Haley Nelson. I don't think so.
The intensity of this Wisconsin team is a reflection of their senior class. Whether it be Carlini or Nelson, they are both gamers.
But Ajanaku follows that up with a powerful swing from the middle. She has 9 kills now.
And with Inky Ajanaku and the big jump she has, you can actually set her too low. And I think for Jenna Gray, probably the transition to setting Inky Ajanaku, the challenge could be getting it up high enough for her. She plays so high above the net. This is a Stanford team, realize, who also spent a good part of the season in a 6-2. They've made a transition to the 5-1, and it is a true freshman who sets for them in that 5-1.
And since moving to that 5-1, they are 14-2.
And they continue to feed the beast right there.
What a serve by Catherine Plummer. It just nosedives as soon as it crosses the tape.
We talked about her experience on the beach, and you see it in so many areas of her game, her ball control, her serving.
Haggerty. Blocked.
And this is exactly why Wisconsin has been avoiding the block of Lutz. They've been using their right side attacker so often. Haven't gone to Haggerty nearly as much as they usually do, and that's because the 6'8" Lutz, who played middle blocker a season ago, is waiting out there on that antenna.
Ajanaku with the tip down. Right there waiting for it, and that's a senior.
On her way down, just not giving up on that one. A little second effort comes in big.
A 5-point run for Stanford. Carlini over on 2. Cardinal wasn't ready.
And Inky says, my bad. She reached back and got a hand on that one, thinking maybe no one was behind her, but perhaps the defense could have made a play.
And that was going to be a difficult angle for Ivana Vonyak. She had to go around her teammate.
And several times she's been put in difficult situations. That time floating outside, blockers waiting on her. Really difficult spot.
Check out Tiana Williams too, 3 blocks on the night. They'll try Vonyak again. And Wisconsin can't rally to send it over. Point for Stanford.
Vonyak has 18 total attempts. That equals Inki Ijanaku. Wisconsin has really overloaded her in terms of making her block balls at the net. And then because of a lack of ball control at times, Stanford's had to set her an awful lot of balls. She is being called on to do a whole lot.
Ray, back to Vonyak, as you said. Kelly Bates with another pancake. Lutz goes long. Point Wisconsin. And it was Kelly Bates. We've seen her do it a couple times.
Again, this Wisconsin defense, Kelly Bates leading the charge, never giving up on a ball. Finally in system, Stanford was able to go to Lutz. They thought they had a kill there. I think Lutz thought there was a touch, but it's called out of bounds.
Kelly Bates diving on the floor once again to keep things going for the Badgers. Carlini to Williams on the slide, hits into the block and the tape.
Maybe one of the first balls from Carlini this weekend that wouldn't be described as killable. She has such great placement, but that time Williams overruns it just a little bit and it dives into the blocker's hands.
Haggerty runs over to get it. Gray will go to Fitzmaurice. Carlini still able to bump set Haggerty. Vonyak, right at Emmy Dodge, handles it nicely. Off of the block goes Molly Haggerty.
A really good rally. The fans applauded, and Coach Dunning of Stanford, even he is up off the bench, applauding that rally as well. We haven't seen as much of Molly Haggerty as the matchup that Wisconsin likes tends to be their right side, but when she's called upon, she has the ability to come through.
6 kills for Haggerty, hitting 182. That was too easy for Adriana Fitzmaurice.
Standing on the ground, takes one over, and I think it even caught the Wisconsin defense by surprise. They didn't expect such an easy ball.
Fitzmaurice now with 7 kills. She's hitting 500. Another freshman for Stanford. A little redemption there for Holland McKenna. Comes in off the bench to serve. Last time she had a couple of errors in a row. This time an ace to start things off. Fitzmaurice kills the overpass. And Wisconsin wants to call a timeout as Fitzmaurice picks up her 8th kill. The overpass had no chance of a slam from the freshman. Favorite female athletes. Log on to ESPNW.com. You can check out some of this week's volleyball stories. The ESPNW National Player of the Year, digging these liberos, and a look ahead to the Volley 4. Highlights and recaps and so much more. All of that right now on ESPNW.com. John Dunning in his 16th season as Stanford's head coach, he certainly knows what it takes to get to a national championship match. He has 4 NCAA titles.
The only coach to win a title in his first season at 2 different schools. He has such a unique coaching history. He was a high school math teacher.
This blows my mind.
He was approached, asked to coach the volleyball team. They were starting a volleyball program. Why not? Got involved, very successful at that level. Started a club, very successful at that level. Took over the collegiate program at the University of Pacific and won a national title in his first year there. He is now a member of the AVCA Hall of Fame, but it has been a treat to be a part of this regional, because we certainly have had here 4 of the best coaches in the game, but really 4 of the best people in the game as well.
And his players say when they come to Stanford, as you see an error there for Fitzmaurice, when they come to Stanford, you know, they know how to play volleyball, but maybe they didn't know the sport as well as they thought they did, because Coach Dunning is such a great teacher. He explains it so well.
He said to us earlier today, as we talked about the difference between the 5-1 and the 6-2, a change that his team has made this year. He said that not nearly as many national titles have been won in the 6-2 system for whatever reason. He said you have to look at the statistics. And I said, coming from a math teacher, that takes on a whole new meaning.
Romana Kreshkova cuts the Stanford lead to 3, and we saw Wisconsin come back in the second set. Not afraid to do it again. Ajanaku on the slide.
And there are times where you see glimpses of the brilliance of Inky Ajanaku. She has a bright future in the sport of this game. You can see that her ability to execute on that slide, it's just a little higher, just a little faster, just a little better than everyone else.
Gillis into the block and down. And Gillis will rotate out. She has 8 kills. Make that 9 kills on 21 total attacks.
1 away from double digits. She has had 10 or more kills in 8 of their last 9 matches. Has been a key piece to this puzzle.
Haggerty goes long. They will say it was touched. Point for Wisconsin.
Inky doesn't think so. From that angle, I tend to agree.
There is no review system in this stage of the tournament. No review needed on that shot from Ajanaku.
It's a really nice choice by the young freshman setter. It can be intimidating as a youngster. You're afraid of missing when you're that far off the net to feed your middle blocker. But it's exactly what she needs to do at this point in the match. Every set to this point, this is where Wisconsin has made their run. Right about now, Stanford has got to pull apart here.
Catherine Plummer with the serve. Kreshkova just out.
We don't see many Wisconsin errors. A little crack in the door for Stanford. They've got to take advantage of it.
Plummer's serve grazes the tape. And there's Haley Nelson heading to a wide open middle of the court.
It's the game plan that's put them up 2-0, and they continue to stick with it when they pass well. And thanks to Kelly Bates, that one is right into the hands of Lauren Carlini. They're able to run to their right pin.
Ajanaku. Just let her do that over and over.
Another good set by Jenna Gray. And now, though, Inky will rotate out. That will bring Fitzmaurice into the match, who has 8 kills. Only 1 error, but only 14 attempts at this point. I think they could use Fitzmaurice even more.
Another point for Stanford as that block starting to work for the Cardinal. And they have their largest lead of the match as timeout is called. Stanford on top, 19-14.
The NCAA Women's Volleyball Championship is presented by Northwestern Mutual. We help you live life differently.
Stanford trying to force a 4th set. They're on top of host Wisconsin, 19-14. Inside a loud UW Fieldhouse here in Madison, Wisconsin. Haggerty off the block.
Haggerty now 8 kills. We talked about the fact that she was the Big Ten Freshman of the Year. She is hitting over 200 here today. Not the huge numbers, but we are seeing a very balanced attack from Wisconsin. Big numbers all across the board.
Lutz goes out but takes a piece of the block with her. It will be a point for Stanford. And Lutz will rotate out. She's got 8 kills.
And again, we're seeing a very balanced attack for Stanford. Exactly what we expected. Both of these teams run a 5-1. One setter, have 5 attackers, and on both of these teams, every attacker averages over 2 kills per set. And guess what? Lauren Carlini can get a kill as well, as this time she decides to go over on 2, but look how she disguises it. Keeps those hands down until the last second.
Yeah, she doesn't just have 1 kill, she has 4 kills on the night. Not bad for a setter. Vonyak. And Gillis will push it to the back corner. Right down the line. Point Wisconsin.
Gillis, just another one of those Badgers who has upped her game in the postseason. Normally 3 kills per set. She's at nearly 3.5 kills per set in the tournament.
Stanford calls timeout as Wisconsin has cut their lead to 3 here in set 4. And there is a ton riding on this match. You can feel it inside the field house today. The winner of this one moving on to the Volley 4, the national semifinals. They will take on the winner of UCLA and Minnesota, who will play later tonight at 10 Eastern on ESPNU. Nebraska has already punched its ticket.
This is the second Big Ten Pac-12 matchup of the day. The Big Ten taking the first one, Wisconsin leading this one, and of course the winner will play the winner of that third Big Ten Pac-12 matchup that is yet to come. Really good volleyball for you all day.
And coming up after this one, Creighton is one of the final 8 teams remaining as they were able to upset Michigan, and they will face Texas following our match here in Wisconsin.
Texas had to hold off BYU to make it to the regional final that they are hosting, but it's Creighton who has the longest winning streak in the nation right now, pushing that all the way to 23 matches. They have had to go to 5 sets 3 times to get to this point in the tournament. They know what it's like to play under pressure.
I'm going to go ahead and call that a rally cap right there. Wisconsin down 3. Stanford trying to force a 4th set.
There's a great look at Plummer, the Pac-12 Freshman of the Year, and you heard Coach Dunning allude to the fact that this team has been through a lot. Players on this team who are not with them at this point, they are missing the play of Haley Hodson. Last year's Pac-12 Freshman of the Year, they would have had back-to-back Freshman of the Year on the same team, but she has taken a medical leave of absence. So they have altered their lineup over the course of the season, and then Wisconsin has used 6 different lineups as well. The only players who have not changed over the course of the season are Carlini, the setter, and the 2 middle blockers.
And there's that Stanford block we know so well.
This is a block that has the ability to take over a match if you play into their hands, and Stanford knows that if they serve well, their block can score quick points. Coach Jennings said, actually, we probably haven't practiced blocking as much as you would think over the course of the season when you consider what a great blocking team they are, because he said it's really a domino effect. It depends on how well we serve and do the other things as to whether or not our block can impact a match.
And they will call double contact on Stanford. Point for Wisconsin. The Cardinals still 3 points away from forcing a 4th set.
Coach Dunning with a little smile for his freshman setter, Jenna Gray, encouraging her to shake that one off.
Kelly Bates with the serve. That is ace number 4 for Bates today.
And credit Kelly Bates for her willingness to play any role where her team is needed. She said Emmy was hurt in the spring, and she knew she may be called on to play libero, so she had specifically trained in the left back during the spring, but has started at both libero and outside hitter over the course of the season. And She finds ways to impact a match from every position.
The service error will put the ball in the hands of Adriana Fitzmaurice for Stanford. Carlini over on 2. This time the Cardinal ready for it. Here's Plummer. Dug up by Bates. Free ball opportunity for Wisconsin. Gillis to the back corner, and it was in.
The line judge has to turn, but never moves her feet, and she's right on the line. So anything in front of her is in bounds, and it certainly was. I have to question that last rally, though. A couple balls to Jenna Gray where she had an opportunity to set Inky Ajanaku, and she goes outside. I think for those 3 rotations where Inky's on the floor, and you have that opportunity to set her, you've got to cash in.
Well, Stanford will get set point on a service error from Wisconsin. Cardinal looking to force a 4th set. Here's Jenna Gray. Gillis down the line and in.
Not quite yet, says Gillis.
Wisconsin has to be perfect for 3 more points if they want to go ahead and close this out in 3.
How's that for a little pressure on the true freshman Sarah Dodd, who steps back to serve?
Ajanaku. I'll go back to Plummer on the right side. And Haggerty will send over the free ball. And that's who you go to. You go to your senior. Stanford forces a 4th set. The Cardinal will not be swept here in Madison yet. Inky Ajanaku says, I'm not ready to finish my career. We're playing on. Of the year between #1 Miami and #4 Notre Dame that sparked far more than just a controversial t-shirt. Catholics versus Convicts, presented by Many, and Saturday tonight at 9 p.m. Eastern on ESPN, also streaming live on the ESPN app, and watch ESPN. Well, we knew senior Inky Ajanaku was going to be big. 14 kills for Stanford.
I tell you, the really good ones know how to be great in the big moments, and it's Inky Ajanaku's kill that forces a 4th set here in Madison as she is putting this team on her shoulders. She set a season high with 17 kills last night, already has 14 here today, hitting .522, and she's got 4 blocks to go along with it.
Stanford came out in that 3rd set and hit .314 as a unit. Ajanaku hitting over 500. Fitzmaurice also hitting over 500 for the Cardinal. Dodge tracks it down. Carlini calls out the free ball. And Jenna Gray knew it was coming.
Carlini tries to drop one over into right front, but Jenna Gray, a nice job staying home there at the net. It turns into a free ball opportunity and a chance for a kill that setters just don't see very often.
The Stanford block picking up right where it left off in set #3 as it's Kelsey Humphreys.
And Humphreys does not typically play across the front row, so they had not inserted Lutz into the lineup yet for whatever reason. And a huge celebration from Humphreys as she had 1 shot in left front, made the absolute most of it.
Ajanaku blocked. Tiana Williams in the middle.
Really nice job by Tiana Williams of just going up and taking away an area.
Gray this time goes to Lutz, who tips it over.
Stanford very successful on that play yesterday where they stacked Inky Ajanaku and Lutz over there on left front. It was very difficult for Florida State to defend. We haven't seen them executed at the same level here today.
Stanford out to a 3-1 lead. Gillis. Vonyak will take her hand at it. They try Williams on the slide. She gets the touch.
And Williams, who doesn't look real big in this match compared to the height we see at the net from Stanford, makes the most of her foot speed, which she has plenty of as she chases that one down.
Williams, an AVCA Northeast All-Region selection. Bates dives. And they'll send over the free ball. Lutz right at Kelly Bates. It's an overpass, but we'll still play on. And Ajanaku knew Bates had been brought up and there was nobody back there.
It was becoming impossible to get a ball to fall in front of her. She's playing so well, you got to try to drop one behind her. Nice play by Kelly Bates.
Carlini sets up Gillis. This time it's Nelson on the slide that works for Wisconsin.
And Carlini, again, doing a great job of finding her middles in transition. When the defense does not have time to get fully set up, she finds Nelson behind. That is where they've had so much success.
Fitzmaurice with a quick swing and a quick kill. And over these past 2 days, Adriana Fitzmaurice has been really good for Stanford. Just a freshman. Carlini tried to track that one down. But it's a point for Stanford. They're up by 3.
Kelly Humphreys, who had that interesting block at the net, who doesn't normally play front row, is the one with an ace now. Her mother is a former Stanford volleyball player as well, a 4-time All-American setter, Wendy Rush, for the Cardinal. Is actually Kelly Humphreys' mother, so a strong tradition of Stanford volleyball in her family.
And her father also played football at Stanford. So she's a Cardinal through and through. Haley Nelson feeling good about it on the slide.
We talked about how big the Stanford block is coming in. So what do? You make them have to move. Don't run right at them. And again, Nelson on the slide has been so effective.
Fitzmaurice.
Blocked.
Who's up there at the net?
Haley Nelson. A perfect picture of her career. She had a huge kill followed up by a stuff block. We've said it already, but she is a complete player.
And Ivana Vonyak will put an end to the Wisconsin run as she goes cross court. Holland McKenna back in as Vonyak takes a seat. She has 7 kills and a block.
Coming into the tournament, McKenna led the team with 19 aces. She has the ability to go on a serving run, but Wisconsin side outs quickly, and she will exit the service line. It is a great rotation for Wisconsin to get out of. You see a really nice pass by Dodge there out of the back row that keeps Wisconsin in system yet again.
That one just sneaks in. Another point for the Cardinal.
And what you see from Haley Nelson there as she tries to run that down is the effort you expect from a defensive specialist. And there she is at middle blocker, diving across the back row.
Carlini to Kreshkova. No touches called. And after a hot start for Romana Kreshkova, she's gone a little quiet.
The set wasn't quite there. And Kelly Sheffield said it. You have to stay in system when Carlini is along the net and she has choices. This Wisconsin team is very hard to defend.
That time, it's in. Kreshkova now with 11 kills. She had 9 through the first 2 sets.
And remember, the play prior to this was a Kreshkova error, but Lauren Carlini doesn't hesitate to go right back to her fellow senior.
And it's an ace for Amber McDonald. McDonald with her 3rd ace tonight.
She made a huge service run in the 4th set just last night against Ohio State. Can she bring that spark again today?
Wisconsin with 6 aces tonight. Ajanaku off the block. Williams going cross court. Hello, point Wisconsin. And just like that, the Badgers are within 1.
They stuck to their game plan so well early, and now they've regained the ball control. It's allowed them to go back to that game plan of attacking the right antenna. Kelly Sheffield said last night when Wisconsin's back was against the wall, they responded with unity, strength, confidence, and execution. And I think that is so key, and that's exactly what we're seeing here, some high-level execution from Wisconsin.
Jenna Gray with another opportunity here. Stanford back up by 2. Williams. And it's Catherine Plummer, this time sticking her hands up.
Plummer showing a lot of composure. Only 6 kills to this point in the match and hitting below 100. But there at the net with a key block. She is a very level-headed player. Not a lot of high highs or low lows, and that serves her well because if her offense goes south, she still is a big block at the net. She's a key piece of their passing. She serves really well for Stanford. She has so much to offer this team.
Wisconsin stuck with it, and Stanford couldn't control it. It will be a point for the Badgers, 2-point game. Ajanaku this time goes with the tip over the block. Haggerty attacking from the back row. I don't think so, says Moretta Lutz.
And Lutz has really not had the opportunity that she probably had hoped for to get in on the block. So finally running one out of the back row, she has an opportunity to step up and put one away.
Lutz with 2 blocks. Carlini over on 2. Here's Ajanaku. Second time's a charm for Inky.
We saw Carlini there try to send it deep in the corner on 2. She practiced that this morning, but she just didn't quite get enough push on it. It turns into a free ball opportunity for the Cardinal.
Stanford up by 4. And Plummer's serve goes long. Point for Wisconsin.
That one sails on her, but I have to say, this group of Stanford freshmen has held up pretty well under the pressure of Wisconsin's home court.
Ajanaku now with 17 kills, tying her season high for the 2nd night in a row. She had 17 kills last night, 17 kills. Continues with the national semifinals Thursday, December 15th at 7 p.m. Eastern on ESPN2. For more information on the NCAA Women's Volleyball Championships, visit ncaa.com, your home for all 90 NCAA championships. We got a good one here in the Madison Regional. Stanford on top in set 4, 15-11. The Cardinal was able to force a 4th set after Wisconsin came out and took sets 1 and 2.
And remember, this is a Stanford team who lost their first set just last night against Florida State here. They came into this regional with 6 consecutive sweeps. They dropped that first set, and you wonder how are their youngsters going to respond in this tough environment, but they have really held their composure. And so to go down 0-2 hasn't shaken this Cardinal team.
A spot in Columbus is on the line. And that time, Lauren Carlini had plenty on it.
After the miss on her last try, at sending over second contact, she was not going to be denied on that one.
Carlini with 5 kills. As a setter. Vonyak into the tape. Wisconsin not going anywhere.
This is a Wisconsin team who was down in the 4th set against Ohio State just last night, and Lauren Carlini said that's when you have to embrace the moment. That's what championships are made of, and they have that opportunity again here tonight.
Lutz goes cross court for kill number 10. She's now the 2nd Stanford player with double-digit kills.
A nice push back by Jenna Gray. And Lutz is at 6'8", a player who hits so high above the block and at an angle that you just don't see throughout the season.
Gillis. Vonyak once again. Kelly Bates with a nice dig. Fitzmaurice blocked. Carlini pushes it to Gillis. Vonyak goes long. Point Wisconsin on another great rally. We've seen several of those.
Wisconsin, a good job that time just extending the rally, staying with it, and eventually it's a Stanford error that results in another point, and all of a sudden Wisconsin is within 2.
Wisconsin will bring in Sarah Dodd to serve. Goes short. Fitzmaurice right between Wisconsin's 2 defenders on the back row.
A really nice serve saved by Stanford. And then Jenna Gray, a great job getting her hands on a tight pass. Haley Nelson jumps with the setter, and it gives Fitzmaurice a good look at the angle shot.
Fitzmaurice now with 10 kills, the 3rd player in double-digit kills for Stanford. Service error for the Cardinal. That's service error number 4 for Stanford. Plummer again. And Dodge had to throw her hands up really quickly.
A good job by Plummer to register her 7th kill here. She is always swinging into a double block out there, but with that kill, she jumps above 100 and just continues to plug away.
Williams. Stuffed by Ajanaku. Wisconsin able to get it over, but it's out.
Exactly. You cannot celebrate too early on this Wisconsin team. They keep on fighting.
Wisconsin wants to take a timeout as Stanford is a point away from hitting the 20s. Cardinal lead at 19-15. And it's a young group playing in this regional final.
And having a huge impact. The 3 freshmen you saw there, along with their libero, Hens, have all been major contributors to the team this year.
And speaking of those freshman players, it's Jenna Gray, the setter, coming up with a block.
In an effort to avoid the hands of Inky Ajanaku, Haggerty tries to go down the line. Jenna Gray is right there.
Romana Kreshkova back on track with a nice swing for kill number 12.
We've talked about how good she's been from the antenna on the right side, but here's a different look for Kreshkova. A nice little find by Carlini there.
Stanford still up by 4. Ajanaku tips over the block. And a great pancake by Bates, saves it. Here's Haggerty. Wisconsin tacks on another one. They're within 3. Kelly Bates continuing to impress from the libero position for the Badgers.
Realize this is a Wisconsin team who has never beaten Stanford. Interestingly, these two programs have only played each other twice. The last time was 2004 when Stanford swept Wisconsin in the postseason play that happened in Green Bay.
Haggerty goes up to contest. Now she'll take a swing. Gray to Plummer. Through the block. A point for Catherine Plummer.
You see the pump of the fist from Catherine Plummer, who has certainly had to earn every single one of hers. It was a slow start for her. Wisconsin defense has been all over her. She's had to take a lot of out-of-system swings, but she's earned a few here as of late that are big for Stanford.
It's an ace for Jenna Gray. Ace number 5 for Stanford.
One of the better servers over the course of the season. Along with Plummer, had 18 prior to tonight, and that was just right behind Holland McKenna, who had 19.
Tiana Williams gets Wisconsin 1 point closer.
And you see Tiana Williams off 1 foot again, the ability to cut that ball off at any point, that time taking it straight down the line.
Ajanaku. You knew as soon as she was going to Inky, it was probably going to be a kill.
And Wisconsin, if you notice here on the replay, has all 3 blockers up in the middle. They're bunched, ready to defend her, but there's no defense for that.
Stanford now 2 points away from forcing a 5th set. Gillis. Using the block.
And Wisconsin does such a great job of utilizing Gillis at the left pin, but well off the net. Right here in front of us, we had a great angle at her approach. She gets well off the court, takes a big approach, but swings well off the net, and it allows her room to go around that big Stanford block.
And a service error for Wisconsin will bring up set point for Stanford. Not the first time we've seen that happen tonight. Morgan Hentz. Gillis again. Off the block and down.
And again, Gillis is such a smart attacker. You see there, that's not a full swing. She's very much aware of those blockers' hands in front of her. A good job just using them.
Carlini down the line, right to Catherine Plummer. Lutz over the block. They'll go back to Gillis. Woniak into the block, but it stays down. Another point for Wisconsin. And Stanford wants to take a timeout. They were up 24-19.
That last ball, a great dig passed up into the middle of the court, but well off the net. It becomes a one-option situation. And the Wisconsin block just has the advantage as they're camped out and waiting there on Woniak.
Stanford still 1 point away from forcing a 5th set. Keep in mind, it was Wisconsin coming out and taking sets 1 and 2.
It looked like they may follow Nebraska's lead, who swept their regional final against a Pac-10 opponent and punched their ticket as well, but all of a sudden, things don't look so sure. Remember the last time that a conference had 3 teams at the finals, at the semifinal round, was 2006 when the Pac-10 sent 3 teams to the semifinals, but actually it was Nebraska who ended up winning that.
If you're looking for Texas and Creighton, you can find that right now on ESPN News. We'll get you there as soon as we're done here, but we may have a 5th set coming up. Stanford just 1 point away from forcing that 5th set. We saw Wisconsin and Ohio State go to 5 sets yesterday. What an exciting match that was.
And when you go to that fifth set, you start to see the advantage of these higher seeds having the opportunity to host, as this place got really rowdy. And remember, that is a shortened fifth set, only to 15.
Lauren Carlini still serving for the Badgers. Boniek through the block, and that will do it. We will play 5 here in Madison as Stanford rallies to win 2 in a row. The Cardinal takes set 4, 25-21.
My name's Logan Paul, and I am here to be the best luchador in the world. I will be your coach.
They are singing Sweet Caroline inside the UW Fieldhouse as we are going to a 5th set. No surprise here, and for a handful of seniors, one of those Lauren Carlini, it's this 5th set between the end of their season and moving on to the Volley 4. Inky Ajanaku with 18 kills, another senior, this time for Stanford, and Haley Nelson, 13 kills for Wisconsin, all contributing and not wanting it to end.
Haley Nelson of Wisconsin, I think, said it best when she said the ultimate goal as a senior is for the confetti to fall at the end of the season. All of these seniors feel that way. We're going to see a whole lot of Hart Humphreys for Stanford also in her senior year. These players are going to gut it out. Expect them to lead the way as we race to 15. For one team, the dream lives on, and for another, the road will end.
We will play to 15. You have to win by 2. It is all or nothing right here at the Madison Regional Final. Stanford will serve first. The Cardinal coming back from trailing 0-2, and here we go in set number 5. Carlini this time going to Gillis, dug up by Fitzmaurice. And Lauren Carlini took advantage of a tough pass to send it down. Wisconsin on the board first.
Stanford saying, hey, maybe over the net, but they're not going to get that one. Plummer trapped over there in left front with the bad pass to the outside.
You will see how fast this goes, as every point counts.
We saw last night, Lauren Carlini, 3 errors last night, but also 3 aces to go along with it. She has not had the errors in this match, and you'll see the fingers roll their fingers like that, saying, let's move on to the next point.
Stanford setter will take her turn. Gillis is able to hustle over and save it. Lutz down for the point.
It's interesting to me that the Stanford team was down 0-2 because it's a very young team. You don't know how they'll respond, and yet they have the play of Lutz and the play of Inky Ajanaku there at the net together, who emotionally have really steadied this ship. Coach Dunning said after playing FSU that was such an interesting team. They beat FSU 25-9 in one set. And yet FSU fought back and played really well in the 4th set after that 3rd set.
So keep in mind, a spot in the national semifinal is on the line. Stanford looking to get back there for the first time since 2014. For Wisconsin, it's been since 2013.
This group of seniors for Wisconsin were freshmen. Not only did they make it to the national semifinal, they went on to the championship match.
And with a block from Lutz, it's Stanford out to a 3-point lead.
It's been a long time in coming, but in a very important point in the match, we see Lutz on the right side making an impact with a block, and it hasn't been her fault. It's been the great play of Wisconsin to avoid her.
Nelson on the slide. Wisconsin going back to a play they know so well.
Nelson knows that right down the middle, she's hitting straight into Inky Ajanaku, so she has consistently run to the antenna, giving herself an opportunity maybe just against one block or at least against the moving block of Ajanaku.
And Nelson has tied her season high with 14 kills. But Catherine Plummer continues to chip away.
So impressed with the way Plummer has played this match and what was a very slow start for her in terms of her numbers. She has really stuck with it.
The AVCA Pacific North Region Freshman of the Year. Also the Pac-12 Freshman of the Year. Haley Nelson, once again, you can tell she's a senior and she's feeling it.
She's the player who brought the fire last night, not just with her play, but with a little pep talk to her team.
Ajanaku runs up to get it. Haggerty dug up by Plummer. It's in off the block. Inky Ajanaku at the net.
Early in that rally, not a good set by Jenna Gray, the freshman setter for Stanford, but what a luxury to have the redshirt senior, Inky Ajanaku, there at the net to erase those mistakes.
Ajanaku with a double-double. She's got 18 kills and 11 blocks. Lutz tooling the block, and Stanford is up by 4. Wisconsin has to take a timeout as the Cardinal is trying to run away with it. Stanford on top 7-3 here in set 5. Days of sellout crowds, and right now Wisconsin in danger of having their season come to an end. They'll get Stanford with a net violation. Wisconsin will get the point.
Kreshkova, a transfer from VCU, was not with this team when they made that trip to the finals in 2013, but she is a redshirt senior as well, and a little something extra on that swing.
Fitzmaurice into the block of Carlini and Williams.
We see the nice setup there by Carlini, who comes in to help. We talked about her ability as a setter to impact the game, even as a blocker. Last night matching her career high in blocks.
Kelly Bates hustles over to save it, but it's out. Point for Stanford. The Cardinal the first to reach 8. They will switch benches and sides of the floor. But that block for Stanford has really started to affect Wisconsin late in this match. 17 blocks for Stanford.
And Coach Dunning said it's a domino effect. You can't just say we're going to block balls to win. You have to do the right things to put your blockers in a position to have that opportunity. And it's taken them a while to get into that situation. But they have upped their level of play in sets 3, 4, and now 5, and we begin to see that domino effect of their block affecting this match.
What a save by Morgan Hintz. The swing goes out by Williams, but Morgan Hintz is the reason that Stanford gets a point.
Folks, this is a freshman libero, making the huge dive to her left. One arm save. Phenomenal.
Carlini will try Williams again. This time, her swing does get the block.
And enough pace on that one that it's impossible to run down. It was interesting. Hintz said one of the big adjustments for her as a libero coming into college was to be prepared to run balls down off that block. The college block is so big and touches so many balls.
Carlini over on 2. Net violation called on Stanford.
Stanford looks at the down official like, no, but I think she definitely got a piece of it there.
Stanford still up by 2. Fitzmaurice. Gillis goes long, point for Stanford, and now it is just a quick 5 points that the Cardinal needs.
And the other domino effect of a successful Stanford block is that it makes attackers uncomfortable. And Coach Sheffield talked to us about this coming into the match. It then begins to create attacking errors that you don't typically see because the attackers start to think about that big block.
27 attack errors for Wisconsin on the night. Free ball opportunity for Stanford. Gray goes with the tip. What a dot by Haggerty. Are you surprised? That Stanford block still chugging away.
In this, with Jenna Gray in the front row, Molly Haggerty, a beautiful diving save. Fitzmaurice closes alongside its 2 freshmen for the stuff block.
Stanford on top as Wisconsin calls a timeout.
So you can't save money? That's easy as pie.
Close, just 4 points away from a trip to Columbus. We are in set 5. Playing to 15, you have to win by 2. It's Stanford serve. Gillis off the block. They'll try her again. Williams goes after it and gets a point for the Badgers.
And you just have to love the way that she chases these slide plays down. She goes after them full speed, and a nice swing right there through the seam of the block.
Gillis off the block. Hintz is there to keep it alive. They'll try Plummer. Long barely gets it in.
And Plummer, who has the power, also has the finesse. And this is definitely not the hardest tip ball we have seen here today, but it might be the best placed.
3 points away. Plummer. Great dig by Bates. And Gillis finds some room to breathe.
Again, Gillis well off the net for Wisconsin out there in left front, and that has given her the ability to handle that Inky Ajanaku block. But the good news for Stanford is that Inky is back on the floor.
Inky with a double-double, a career-high 11 blocks today. 18 kills to go along with it. They'll try her on the slide. She loves it. It's tipped. She'll take the point.
There's no surprises at this point in the match. With the game on the line, we kind of know who's getting the ball. It's who's going to execute right here.
Haggerty has to run almost to the Wisconsin bench to get it. And Stanford gets a free ball in return. And Ajanaku slams it down. Can you say match point, Stanford?
Trailed 0-2 going into the locker room.
1 point away from the volley 4. Reshkova. Hintz will bump set Plummer. Pack your bags, Stanford. You're going to Columbus. It is the Stanford Cardinal coming back from 0-2 at intermission to beat Wisconsin their 20th national semifinal appearance.
It's the Pac-12 Freshman of the Year, Plummer, who seals the deal for Stanford. What a mature match. This freshman class is growing up right in front of our eyes.
Your final score from Madison, 3-2. Stanford is moving on to the Volley 4. For Missy Whittemore and our entire crew, I'm Courtney Lyle. Volleyball continues with Creighton and Texas from Austin coming up next. Good night from Madison.